Welcome back, Keepers of the Flame, part 2 of energetic cleansing of space. Because if your environment creates the cell, right? Right. Okay, so. Okay. What else? Symbology also helps. There's a knowing of what these symbolize in our DNA. Okay, and those are iris. Arkansas Black, for those of you who are like, that's just amazing, I need that in my life. Arkansas Black iris. So we covered kind of like the herbal smokage and maybe a little bit of bath time. Again, the magnesium chloride flakes are going to absorb more readily, and you don't need to use near as much as you do with the Epsom salt, which is, for whatever reason, more readily available, even though it doesn't work as good. Freaking, that's white coats for you. Anyway, so let's look up iris quick to see what kind of energetics she provides for the environment. Oh, they're pretty important, but before I'll read from a book, so that way you get lavender, ooh, lantana, jasmine. That's my druid plant. Iris. Okay, so medicinally and magically employed in many cultures, including Japan, America, Egypt, Arabia, China, France, and Greece. Iris, like the Greek goddess for whom she is named, is an iridescent bridge between the realm of humans and the realm of the divine. Alignment with inner truth. Who are you really? While you'll never have a definitive answer of the scientific sense, each of us has a unique spiritual essence within us just waiting to be honored and expressed. And when we do express it, our divine gifts blossom forth and we become clear, open channels of divine healing and love. But we can only express our inner truth once we get in touch with it and align with it. And helping us do so is one of Iris's specialties. To begin getting in touch with the deepest, truest essence of who you are as you feel guided, try working magically with the blossom or essence. Creativity. When we create, we are like prisms or crystals. The pineal gland. Again, these are not like... This is an interconnected web of fractal ecosystem functioning as a whole, interconnected deeply with each other. There's no separation here. I know everybody wants this whole separate thing. We are not all the same. We're made up of the same stuff, but we're not all the same. We are all interconnected, but we're not all the same. Okay? When we create, we are like prisms or crystals, receiving and reflecting divine light and transmuting it into rainbows. The clearer and more receptive we are, the more we sparkle and the more beauty we spread out into the world, just as the goddess Iris was a rainbow bridge of light between the human and the celestial realms. The flower iris, can connect us to the ever-present divine download of creative light and energy so that we can express our creative visions in healing and beneficial ways. This allows us to transmute stagnant feelings and challenging emotions into beauty and to experience countless benefits in every area of life. To open your creative channel with iris, try spending time with a flower, working with its essence, placing an iris in water near your creative workspace, or sleeping with an iris water on your nightstand or otherwise near your head. Okay, so that's all. I don't want to give the whole book away. I want you to go and get this if that spoke to you. So The Magic of Flowers by Tess Whitehurst. Amazing, amazing woman. Really cool. So another way you can do the flower essence thing too is take the blossoms and put it in a bowl, a clear bowl. I like to use clear just because color adds something to it and I want the pure. So color magic is a thing. Color, frequency, energy, vibration. There's a reason why there's, you know, paint thing, why we don't all paint our houses the same color, yada, yada, yada. Energetics, kids. So you put it in a bowl of sunlit water for 6 hours. So there should be no interrupted light for 6 hours on that bowl of water with the flowers in it. That creates an essence water, and you can add it to your bath water. You can put it in a spray bottle and use it that way. Now, if you're going to preserve it in that method, I would highly recommend distilled water so it doesn't grow stagnant for any reason. I would recommend a dark bottle so the sunlight doesn't harm it, and I would put it in a darker space in a cabinet or something away from sunlight if you want to preserve it for that way. Okay, that's just what I've learned throughout the years. Okay, ready, set, grow. So we covered what flowers can do to the environment. Okay, it's gonna clean the energetics, get you to not only do that, but gets your purpose, your soul alignment. And whatever flower or plant you're attracted to is going to help and benefit your environment. Okay? Again, taking into consideration if this doesn't resonate, if that's going to hurt you having that type of thing in your environment, because I mean, it does smell, it has a scent to it. If you're sensitive to that, you know, enjoy it out in nature, but you don't have to bring it into your environment. It's just a total option thing. This is not a must do. This is just what I'm giving you different modalities of doing this. This is a whole plethora. This is a spectrum, and you get to choose which little specks you like and what works best for your system, because we're not all the same, but we're all connected. Okay. So eucalyptus is a really good, good lung cleanser, good air purifier. That would be my number one for air purifying. I use this a lot in the last, 3 years. Used that a lot in the last 3 years. Meditaion, if you are doing ritual work or spell work or putting an intention out and you want to enhance your bath experience or whatever you're working with, but you don't have the right essence that you want to work with or oil, meditaion is a substitute for all. Okay. Get it, Sophie. Good girl. I don't know how to, I have a really skinny cat, and she's working on becoming kind of borderline obese. I don't know what to do about it. I love her to death. I'm not fat shaming you. I'm just concerned for your health. So rose is good for love. My grandma's bathroom always smelled of rose, so I keep a vial of this in my bathroom. Grapefruit. Anything citrusy is really good for energy, creating more energetic things in your environment. Really nice, freshening. Use it in the mornings, not in the evenings. Cedarwood's good. Insect repellent. I put this in my insect spray. It keeps the bloodsuckers away. All of them. Liang. That is that sits at my desk when I'm learning and I want to memorize things and things like that. That's a good mental memory clarifying thing, along with the lavender. It's calming, so you're not in an agitated state. But again, that calm is a mental clarity. So I think I addressed this in the last video, pretty sure. We oftentimes think calm as some sort of drunken state. It's not. That's a totally different state than a calm state. Because when you're drunk and whatever else, you're out of control. You're not in your body. There's no mental clarity. That's completely different. You think it's the same, but it's not. It's completely different. So this is a mental clarity calm, where you can see what you're doing, you know what you're doing, you know exactly what's happening in your environment and what's happening on the inside of your body and out externally in your environment. You're totally, completely clear on that. And that's what brings the calm in. I have no concept of what's happening in or outside of myself because I am out in the ethos exploring right now. Okay. Rosemary, that's another good air cleanser, purifier. That's good for fall, winter essences, bringing that accumulation of the season in to clarify the air and things like that. It's got a lot of anti properties to it. It pairs well with the eucalyptus. Citronella, keeping the insects away again. So I guess I could give you my insect repellent recipe. It's not I don't think it's anything new, but I know it's not anything that like everybody else makes. So it is effective and it smells freaking amazing. There's lavender, or not lavender, I'm sorry, vanilla scent, the vanilla cooking flavor thing. It has to be authentic vanilla. If it's fake vanilla scent, it's not going to work. But if it's authentic vanilla scent, it will repel those little gnat things. So I cover all the bases when I do my anti-insect thingy thing. Watch us. Oh, almost forgot. So these things. These little, where the heck? Oh yeah, hi. I was gonna say, God, I just had it all over the cards. These, there, these, all of these things. All of these different stones have different energetic patterns to them. And the reason why I'm not telling you what they are is because I want you to start noticing how you felt through each one. So I don't want to overload your mind. I want you to get into your senses. Like, how does it feel when you look at this? Again, taking your own personal sovereignty into account when it comes to the energetic of things. Again, I'm not going to tell you the names of them. This was just discovered, though, not too long ago, in a cave out in Colorado. It's just a mix of different chemicals. Okay. So, what you just experienced was math. It's just math. Math is the universal language for all of this. This has a number of molecules in it that make up something. This has a different number of molecules in it that make up something. And they all have different shapes and patterns. We forget that, like, this little plant right here, this little rose, had a scientific and mathematical breakdown to it of how that stem was formed, how that plant came up to be, how the roots grew, and whatever else. All of that can be drawn back to a mathematical equation and a pattern. So when they say the universe is simply math, they're not wrong. They're just completely disconnected of how that translates to actual existence, I guess you could say. So all of these different stones have mathematical properties to them, and they have a different pattern. This crazy thing called sacred geometry exists in each one of these. Okay, so now if you choose to not believe in that, that's totally up to you. But when we're getting into sacred geometry and then disconnecting ourselves from the earth and how much power and connection we have to it through the mathematics, because there's math in our bodies as well. 33 vertebrae, 10 toes and fingers. All of these things can be accumulated into the vast array of the web of life. Okay. We are in no way disconnected from any of this energetic. None of it we're disconnected from. We're all intertwined with it. Whether we like it or not, whether we want to accept it or not, whether you want to be a part of it or if you want to give it the middle finger, it is always going to be here right at your fingertips. Forever and always. Magic will always be a thing. And my translation of magic is frequency, energy, vibration. And all three of those things get broken down in a mathematical sequence, depending on the variance of what you're working with. So, again, the weaving. Okay, this isn't woo-woo. It never has been and it never will be woo-woo. Stop it. You're robbing yourself from being connected to the ever-changing web of life. This is it. This is exactly it right here. So for you to look at something that came from the very thing that you get to exist on, and you're telling the rest of all humanity that you're separate from this and that you have nothing to do with any of this and you're disconnected from this, that, and the other thing. That not only makes you ignorant, that makes you some sort of not nice entity. So refrain from taking people who are like, yeah, I see how I'm connected to that. I understand the interconnected of us. And you're resonating with it for a reason. You don't, your body doesn't pick up on things because it's not there to, how do I say this? Your body picks up on things that you resonate from within. So as within, so without. So if you're out in nature even, and you're like walking along and something, oh my gosh, is like catching your eye on the ground, even if it's not glittering, sometimes you find things that are glowing. And it looks amazing to you and you're just like, oh my gosh, this thing. And it doesn't even have to be, it doesn't have to be a stone. It can be, I've picked up twigs before. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're going home. And it was glowing to me in the woods, but like when I brought it home, it was just like, okay. But I collect in the fall, the fallen tree branches have a particular fall scent to them that, this is gonna sound crazy, but that fall scent, when you walk into the woods, is actual death and decay. It's the fallen tree branches that are now breaking down and becoming fertilizer for that smell that a lot of people are like, I love the smell of fall. That's what you're smelling, death and decay. So bringing that into your environment, so it encourages your body and your mind to fall in with what's resonating in your heart, to the process of life itself, rather than rejecting it and putting it up on yourself and saying, I'm disconnected from all of these. I am definitely interconnected with all of these things, and they have a purpose and a place for growth and expansion in my life, rather than because this fills the air. You open it and you can smell it. It's now in the air. So it's not, the air isn't woo-woo. This isn't filled with nothing. It's filled with a lot of things. The key to all of this is getting the air filled with what you want it to be filled with versus what you don't want it to be filled with. Things that serve you, things that disrupt you, things that teach you, things that suck your life energy. All that stuff is going on in your air continuously in your environment. Now, does that mean that you can put off going through your dark nights of the soul? No. That's not what that means at all. This is just a modality of saying, okay, my spirit is calling me to do this. My intuition, my high priestess is speaking to me right now. I need to start doing something to create the environmental space for whatever it is needs to come from this, whatever it is for you. It can be anything and everything. It can be intention, manifestation, protection, whatever it is for you. This is going to assist in this process if you have things set up in such a way where it's going to facilitate the environmental womb, if you will, matrix for that birthing process to produce whatever it is that you desire. Okay? So you don't have to use any of this for that to come about. You can develop your spiritual strength and fortitude to not need any of this. Absolutely. You can evolve off your chart, off your natal chart. Absolutely. Okay? This is not a necessity. This is just a few different pathways. That's it. That's all. So if this doesn't resonate with you, that's cool. You can go in a different direction. You can use water. You can use just walking in nature. A lot of people just walk in nature and when you're walking out in nature, you're picking up on the energetics around you anyway, right? Right. And that's why people say get out in nature. It's because the energy there is so pure and raw and hopefully not so touched. Although a lot of the parks will intervene in nature and have things grow versus having other things grow. So getting into your intuition and resonating what works and what doesn't. And there might be a day where you have all of this in your environment and all of a sudden, oils need to go. All done oils. No more oils. All done. Bye. You give them away, you sell them, you throw them, whatever. Okay? All of a sudden, oils don't do it for you, and you're done with oils. All of a sudden, you don't need this herb, you don't need that herb, but you need to invite this herb in and that herb in and whatever else. All of this is supposed to evolve. This isn't supposed to be set in stone. There's been times where I've gone through my crystal collection and been like, hey, do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want this? I'll put it out for donation. Whatever. Okay? Okay. Again, paying attention to your intuition, tapping into it and saying, yep, that's going to work. No, that's not going to work. Doing the muscle test if you're in doubt. Again, keeping the mental clarity so you can get through these things. And I have my Mars in Capricorn. So it's different for everybody. But these are a few avenues and alleyways to clean your environment, to keep it in that matrix state for developing your evolutionary process a little bit easier. I'm not saying it's going to give you the final key, but it is definitely a way to facilitate an environment for further development. And again, you don't need any of this. It's just one little thing. Like, I plucked these out of my yard yesterday, and like, they're coming in the house. So it's or not yesterday, the day before, whichever one. So it's whatever resonates with you. It's not a modality of you must, or this is the only way. That's never the case. We are all different creatures with different needs. Okay? Okay. So just a little bit of an array of things and selections for you to either explore or tap into, or come to a deeper understanding. I used to have a great book called The Talisman. And this is serpentine, by the way. Wow. See, now I'm going to start telling you. These are both serpentine stones. So, it was called The Talisman, and I cannot remember who the app wrote it, but I gave it to a kid. I gave it to a little kid who had, like, you know, he was interested in stones. I'm like, you need to read this. And I can't find it again on the internet. So, but it's really good because it gives you the structural patterns and the sacred geometry in each different type of stone. Whether they have, like, some of them have, like, the tree of life pattern in them. So, some of them have the seed of life pattern in them. Some of them have a Fibonacci code sequence in them. Some of them have, like, the beehive hexagon patterns in them. It's all, again, broken down into pattern. I mean, this would be a pretty close modality. This is going to be the hexagonal because of that long drawn out, I guess you could call it skeletal structure to it. Because it is bone, essentially. It's just the earth's bone, not our bones. Okay. So, how does this? I'm not sure what serpentine is. I don't recall reading about it at all in that book. But anyway, so, I mean, and this goes for, like, even the way you have, like, diamonds, the way you cut diamonds will give you an energetic pattern. So the hexagonal state is going to have a more, I'll leave that to you to look up because I don't want to start cursing people's wedding rings. Not why I'm here. So different modalities of how the stones are cut and treated also matters. Like if they're, like, in the raw, this is sodalite. Sugarlite, I'm sorry. Sugarlite. Sugar. This is sodalite. Sorry, I was looking at the sodalite. This is sodalite. Sugarlite. Rose quartz. You knew that. That one I can't remember because it's brand spanking new. Onyx. This one is fluoride. And that is a mix. Oh, sorry. This is pyrite. You can kind of see it there. And crystal quartz. And there's supposed to be rudolite in here, but there's not in this one. It's not in here, but this was like a mix of 3 different crystal quartz, pyrite, and then hematite, and then it's that pink stone, rhodolite, not rhodolite, RH. I think it's rhodolite. That's that pink stone. But it doesn't have any of the pink stone in this. It's just those 3. The pyrite, the hematite, and the crystal quartz. But it was found out in a cave in Colorado. I can't remember exactly the year, but it's been like probably 3, 4, maybe even 5 years. Okay, so they all have different modalities and purposes and whatever else. And I would do like you would with the plant, sit with it, try to understand the modality, get in the groove with resonating with it. And again, this is very different. You're going to feel, heavier when you're working with the rocks, where it's, depending on the energetics of the plant, you're going to feel a particular way. I I have a sulfur crystal quartz that is really heavy, and if I put it on, if I hold it for too long or I put it on a part of my body, it's very intense, and it sometimes can get painful. So it's you know, it works. It's just you have to understand how it's working so you don't get into, you know, hurting yourself while you're trying to do some energetic understanding or patterns or whatever. So again, this is just a modality. It's not a set in stone way of going about things. Some people really resonate with this. I've been collecting rocks since I was like, you know, 2 feet off the ground. So, and that's always just been my thing. And so you can learn so much about the geometry of it, and you're like, well, good, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? And it gets aggravating and frustrating. I remember I was angry for a really long time. I'm like, why am I, this is such a waste. Like, what does it matter what this part of the earth is made of, or what we can find in a cave? What's the purpose of this? What is the meaning behind finding cool looking stones in caves and discovering what they're made out of? Because we're not using them in a medicinal way. You're not going to grind this up and use it for medicine. You don't want to eat well, okay, so we brush our teeth with it. But you see what I'm saying? I got really upset. I got pissed off. I'm like, this is just material wealth, and you're putting it on the shelf and selling it to people, and they don't know what the heck it's used for. So then I started getting more into the medicinal avenues of life. Oddly enough, it wasn't through stones, it was through plants first. I worked in a greenhouse for 15 years. And in the off season, I would just research the plants, and then I came across like medicinal values and whatever else, and I'm like, oh, this is why. So I hope I covered some bases, gave you a few insights, avenues, understandings of engaging with the environment and becoming a part of that nature. I just noticed there's like a little pattern of a little moth on the bottom of this stone. That's why I picked it. So when you are struggling and like going, okay, I just, you know, rather than shutting down, shutting off, getting angry, getting pissed off, getting upset, there's different modalities, because a lot of people are getting out of a cult like mindset right now. So rather than reaching towards a human being or a book or whatever for a crutch or a system, find your own sovereignty and your own independence and listen to your inner voice rather than reaching on the outside for something else. Because the thing that we're most interconnected with, which is the earth, for most of us, it's the earth. Not everybody does this. Not everybody is connected with this. And you will see that. You will find that out in the world. And a lot of them are in hierarchy, seeking their pentacles. So getting to the knowledge of there's a vast ecosystem